That wasn't scary. I mean, I'm just a set piece. I'm a character with a background. I'm just here. I exist. But if I shoved a knife in my face, that wouldn't be that scary either. You're just thinking, why did he stick a knife in his face? I mean, it's gross, but it's not scary. This is Evil Dead. Sam Raimi's Evil Dead trilogy is excellent. There's no denying its impact on the film landscape. Fantastic series, just absolute blast. Very corny, scary in some ways, scary in like good ways. You know, it's atmospheric, it's entertaining. It's not like anything you've watched before, and that's what makes it so great. This new movie, Evil Dead Rise, is not exactly what those films are. I'm not a big fan of modern horror movies. Generally, modern horror movies that I've seen don't do a great job of instilling fear in their audience. Mostly jump to cheap jump scares, bad effects. I mean, even CGI blood these days, they just feel lazy, cut and dry, and not very creative. I'm already not really scared of much, and it's hard to sell that to me when you can't scare me with the magic of the theater. That's what Evil Dead Rise is. Evil Dead Rise is a modern horror movie with Evil Dead slapped on top of it. It doesn't really have any relation to the original movies. It's not even really goofy or campy. It's just a horror movie. The only connections we have are, you know, the Necronomicon shows up, you know, like, oh, I know what that is, and there's demons and whatever, but like, that's literally all there is. Otherwise, it's just people are in an apartment building, they get possessed, they start killing each other. I mean, there's a lot of horror movies that do that. This doesn't really do anything different. It's frustrating. It's not that entertaining to watch. Again, it's just cheap jump scares. It's not really anything impressive. There's nothing that kind of sends chills up your spine. It's just like, oh, what if we had this girl like melt her face off? Wouldn't that be like scary? It's like, no, it's just gross. Like, I don't want to watch that. Cast is fine. It's competent. Not really any big names I'm familiar with. Maybe I'm kind of a neophyte here. I don't know. Their performances worked. I don't have anything to comment. You know, they look at things, they scream, they get murdered. Like, I mean, that's pretty like standard. I don't know what to tell you. On top of that, the movie just has like the corniest stuff you can imagine, and not in like a good way, not in like Bruce Campbell corny kind of way. It's like, you know, they have a straight reference to The Shining where I half expect the main character to look at the camera and say like, oh, do you remember this from The Shining? Because it was just so in your face, I couldn't stand it. The closest thing that I think kind of attached this to the original movie style was the setting. It was kind of this creepy old apartment building, you know, it's kind of like over the top, like weird, you know, like why would anyone live here? And it's a nice break from, you know, the woods where all the original Evil Deads took place. And I feel like there's so much you can do with that, and it's just wasted. The potential is just squandered, and you spend most of the time kind of like in one apartment, and it's just not interesting. Eventually you reach a point in watching the movie where you can just predict anything. I mean, it's just cliche, it's not fun. The ending is exactly what you'd expect. It's just like, it's just a gore fest straight from start to finish. Gore's fine. It looks like realistic, but it's just gore. It's not scary. I mean, I've said it like 8 times already, but if you like modern horror, you'll definitely like this. It's fine. It's not my style, and it's not what I liked in the original Evil Dead. And I'm disappointed that they pretty much used the franchise to make a quick buck off of the name. Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi did work as producers on this film. Personally, as much as I love them, it almost doesn't feel like they were. It doesn't feel very faithful to the originals, and it's cliche for me to complain about how things aren't the same and stuff like that, but when there's virtually no connection or no semblance of what the original was, then why am I seeing it if it's not Evil Dead?